say that we are the followers of the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, that are obedient and responding that Abraham or these prophets were to their God Jehovah is never the same today. They believe that it is God who has manifested himself in a different way for us. But I think that is not the case. If we claim he's a God yesterday, he's a God today, okay, but how come then that the same God now makes you do things that at that time he had no problem with? Is there an issue? Is it because of, we can always relate it clearly to see that it is not because times have changed, so he has to change his rules. It has nothing to do with that. There's no time that has changed. He has control over everything. If anything changed, he made the changes. Human life has stayed on the course for all the generations that we live in. There's no other course we can stay on except this, or whatever we know. And the information we get gives us the guide and the format of which we should follow. So we look at it carefully and we see how we have drifted, from generation to generation. The chosen, how we choose to go. Now, the reason why it's a problem is that if we have chosen, or I feel like the descendants of the elders have chosen a path that we go, yet there isn't a single note or a single book to back the path that they are choosing for us, then we must be aware that there is something among us, something out there somehow, that is making the choices for us, and it has blended itself with the whole human race, and it's achieving its aim. It's finding its way to the top, and it's building its own empire without us realizing it, and it's using the book still. It's not going, separating himself from the trust of the people. The trust of the people has been the tradition, has an honest presentation of what the words of the living God that they believe in. And these words are seen as such, the words of the living God, and truthful and honest words. It has been kept so, or tried to keep so. They've tried to keep it that way for as long as I can remember, or I've been told to remember. Then why should we then have another way of life which is not documented, or we have no new document that comes to apply, and then we follow through and ignore the initial basis things that we were meant to sort of embrace? I pointed out to you because it's the same thing with the Quran. The Islamic people have this, no matter how they try to sort of make it look different, their actions have always speak louder. So with the Christians also, your actions always speaks louder, and we must watch our words, carefully watch the words, the practice we have, that it has some relations and some link to this. If we can't practice it, that's a different thing. If you can't practice the ways that has been put there, fine. But don't try to justify your practical way of life with somebody's view of how things should be. I mean, if the authority has ordained certain ways for you, you have to do exactly that. If you can't do it, no big deal. It's not a big deal for you not to be worried. But it seems to be the case that they have to find a justifiable ways and say, okay, if that was said, maybe at that time, looking at the situation, that is why those words were used. And so today we cannot follow through with that words. We have to do something similar to replace that. Fine, you're entitled to say all that you want to say. We also believe that the God we are talking about was a God yesterday and a God today. He knows the future, he knows the past. There is no way that he will write a document to you, that document has to be reviewed by you, or has to be corrected by you over the generation past. He has to do the revision. He would have brought somebody to tell us that things have changed, so there should be a new words to sort of update these ones. But nothing of that sort have come. Apart from this book, there hasn't been any other book. Except what we learned from what others have been writing through reverence and men who are still in the faith. declaring visions and dreams and all that. They come up with all sort of words these days, all sort of books to sort of bring a new revelation to us, but they are not really accepted. But as time goes on, you see that even those books will end up being accepted and being added to the Bible or certain books, because maybe it's the same thing that happened in those times that made us got these books that we have now. But that said and done, all the matter, the problem is that we don't follow what the word says. We don't follow the book. We don't follow the rules and regulations, the basic simple things that we don't even follow through. So how can you not follow through the words of your God or your master and claim that he is your master or he's your God? I don't know how we do it, but we do it anyway. But I say that it has not really ends up with nothing, but there has ends up with something. There is a spirit that backs all this faith. I have experienced a very evil and wicked I've gone through a wicked and evil experience that I know I related to a spirit. Somehow that spirit has performed whatever he had to do. Now, I say wicked because I don't expect that from any serious God who I believe that created me. No, I don't expect such experience from my living God or from anyone. And if that has been the case, in my own normal sense or common sense, I've used to analyze things that way, then that should tell me or tell you something. That even if you haven't gone through that experience, you must know that if you are doing negative things, definitely your results will not come out as positive. They will come out as what? Negative. If you're doing positive things, your results will come out as what? Positive. That's the simple, basic thing that we can think about. If your way of doing things practically in your life, the way you do things, does not match what your God tells you to do, or is not in line with what your God tells you to do, He is no more your God. You have got a different God and you are following a different rules and regulations. So how can He be your God then? That is as simple as it can be. And wanted to know that today that I am alive, I have survived. This by survivor that I am here, and because I have survived, it's giving me the opportunity, the chance to sort of put it out there to you good guys, to make your own minds up about some of the things that might not necessarily be understood straight ahead. Some things will be said that its literal interpretation won't be right, but some things will need literal interpretation. They are right there for you to sort of literally explain them. Those that do not, you can tell when an irony is used, or a proverb has been used, or somehow you can tell that these are poetic statements that needs to be explained. So in that respect, I am here for that reason. And the chance the chance that I have got to use is that I'm alive, I'm well. Even though I'm going through a series of recovery, I still have that chance that if today I may fall off, at least I have put out there. By chance, you might come across it. Who knows? YouTube is something which is going on and on and on, and it keeps revolving itself, and it keeps so. You might end up coming up. I have gone through this place and I've seen that things that have been put out there long ago, and they're still there. And so I go in there, I browse through and I look at it and I read it, or I listen to it. And I think you can also do the same thing. All your children will come and do that, because I believe that because of these intentions or these ideals of the future that I had, the elements that are among us that are there to achieve these evil purposes, those who are what demonic powers, who have their own powers that rule over our lives somehow, unwillingly rule over our life in a smart move of making us have some idea that they are there as good guys. I've always been among us and mingling among us and could see beyond us sometimes and most of the time. And that is the reason why my life was on the edge. I was really on the edge because they could see that I had some intentions of revealing things that shouldn't be revealed, but they had to let it look like I was coming in with an evil intention. Now, I'm not speaking out of anything. My conscience is clearly there for me to say these things that I'm saying. So I know that despite whatever It is. It's just a person